Hello, FSRC. Hopefully, I'm broadcasting in the right channel now. I think before I was broadcasting on my personal page. Welcome to Tupperware Tech Bootcamp Week 5. For those of you that have been with us through this 5-week journey, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I would like to start things off by saying happy day before Thanksgiving to those of you joining us from the States. My understanding is our Canadian friends have already celebrated Thanksgiving, and we're like Tina alluded to earlier in the previous video, we are super grateful that you are part of our companies in the FSRC, and I'm grateful that you're joining me today, or if you're watching this on a recording, to learn how to use Mailchimp to grow your businesses. But first, a couple paperwork items. Each week during Tech Bootcamp, we submit a challenge. So week 1, we had a challenge for Google Contacts. Week 2, we did Facebook. Week 3, we did Google Calendar. Week 4, we did Canva. And to a lesser degree, we did Fonto. Week 5, this week, we're doing Mailchimp. Now, our Connie Welcher was our winner for our Week 1 challenge. I have yet to have a winner for the Facebook challenge. And so if you have gone live on your Facebook page and you submit proof of that to that email address, travis@growblooms.com, then I'll enter you in the drawing for that. Kathy Lawless Johnson was the winner for the Google Calendar Challenge. And so, Kathy, you have a $10 gift certificate and some Tupper goodies on its way to you. I'm still awaiting for entries also for the Canva challenge last week, which is essentially to email me something that you created in Canva to support your business. So we'll get to the Mailchimp challenge later, but I just wanted to sort of give an update on that. And I'm going to do one last verification. Am I broadcasting in the... Okay, I got a thumbs up. We're in the right channel this time. Okay, so let's talk about Mailchimp. What is Mailchimp? Mailchimp is an industrial strength, big boy or big girl email marketing tool. And what I mean by that is in the old days when email first came out, if you wanted to, let's say you had gathered email addresses for 20 or 30 of your customers, or, maybe 20 of your customers and perhaps some potential new customers, you would simply go into email and you would type out an email and you would put their email address in the to box, or you might use the blind carbon copy box or whatnot, and you would just simply send that email from your email address, and everybody would get it. And then there was this horrible thing that happened where spam came into fruition, and I don't mean the spam treat. I mean the spam that's in your inbox. And so what happened is people for bad purposes were abusing email and sending emails to hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. So internet service providers started saying, look, we're going to block this. We're going to start marking this as spam. And as a result, what happened is if you wanted to go send emails to all 20 or 30 of your customers, those were getting blocked. They weren't getting the emails. And so people would go back to I'll just individually email them one at a time. So, then what happened is the bad guys, the bad email people, they started doing that. So then the internet service provider said, okay, well, Travis, if you keep sending the same email to different people one at a time, we're going to block that too. So for a while there was just not a really good, effective way to use email to contact all of your customers at the same time. Then some companies came around like Campaign Monitor, Constant Contact, Mailchimp, which I'll be showing you today. And they said, okay, look, here's what we're going to do. Internet service providers, we promise we are going to make sure that the people that are using our email tools are not sending spam. Okay, we're going to monitor the lists, we're going to take a look at the content, and we're going to make sure that the people who are getting those, the people who are receiving those emails actually want to get those emails. And if we find out that anybody's doing anything they're not supposed to, we're going to kick them out. Now, in exchange for that, what they said, what the internet service providers like Comcast, CenturyLink, they said, okay, well, here's the deal. We'll go ahead and allow when emails come from your system, we're not going to block those because you've promised us that you're going to take care of it. So that's sort of this whole new industry that was set up, was email marketing, which was to say, okay, look, you can now, using Mailchimp, send emails to tens or hundreds or thousands of people, and it's going to be delivered into their inbox. You don't have to worry about it being landing in their spam filter or being blocked or whatnot, as long as you are following the rules that Mailchimp puts forth. So that's in a nutshell why Mailchimp exists. Okay, what I'm going to talk about today is how to use it, what it's all about, and make sure that I give some tips along the way so that you don't violate those rules. Because the last thing you want to do is go through the effort of setting something like this up and then find out that you can't use it because you broke some of the rules. So what I've done here is you'll create a Mailchimp account. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You are all capable of doing that. So I'm going to log in to our Mailchimp account. And the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit of defining some terms. Okay, so really there's 4 things you really want to keep in mind when you're doing Mailchimp, when you're using Mailchimp. The first thing is they consider an email as a campaign. Okay, so when you look up here in the navigation on the top left by our little monkey friend up here, you'll see it says campaigns, templates, lists, and reports. Those are the 4 things that really go into your use of Mailchimp. So the first thing, campaign, that is an email. So you send out an email to all of your customers that maybe says, hey, I have Black Friday specials coming up, so pay attention to my Facebook group coming up on Friday morning because there's going to be some very important things posted there, right? So that's a campaign, okay? A template, the second item in our list here, in the menu, that's what the email looks like, right? So that's the colors, that's the fonts, that's the way the email's laid out on the page. All of that information is contained within a template, okay? So we'll talk about that in a second. Lists. Lists are who you are sending the email to. Obviously, if you're sending the email to 1 or 2 or 3 people, you'll just use your regular email. If you're sending it to a group of people, so who might this list be? You might have a list for past customers. You might have a list for current customers. You might have a list for potential recruits. You might have a list for your kids' daycare center. You might have a list for your team. If you're a manager or a director, you might have lists for managing your team. You can have as many lists as you want. Okay, and so that's what a list is. Essentially, the basic of a list, the most basic list you can have, is an email address. It can just be a list of email addresses, but we're going to talk a little bit about why you want to add more information to that here in a minute. The last thing here is reports. We're not even going to talk about Content Manager. Last thing here is reports. And what reports is when you send out an email, what reports tells you is, are they opening it? When are they opening it? Did they click on anything that was in the email? What did they click on? Did they forward it to a friend? Who was the friend they forwarded it to? It is your way to make sure that what you're doing in Mailchimp is having an impact on your business. Okay, so very quickly, to recap this, campaigns, think of that as emails. Templates. Templates are what the email is structured like and what it looks like. Lists are who are you sending it to, and reports are after you've sent it, information that you can use for your business based on that email that you sent out. Okay, so what we're going to start with actually is our list. Okay, so I'm going to click on lists. And you'll see here in lists, we have a few different lists we use here in Blooming Sales. We have our general Blooming Sales list that has 998 subscribers in there. And you'll see here on average, they open the emails about 18% of the time, depending on the email. Sometimes they are opening, more of them open it, sometimes fewer of them open it, and it just really depends. But we also have an email list here for people who are going inactive, because we like to email communicate to them, hey, you're going inactive, you're only $27 away from staying active, those sort of things. We also have an email listing here, which we call My Team. So this is people within our company that aren't under a director. They're directly underneath Angie as the business leader. So sometimes we want to communicate to them. We can send them emails. So you can have as many lists as you want here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off by saying, let's create a new list, because this is what you will be doing. Is you'll say, I'm going to create a list. And it says tags might work better than a new list. We're not going to worry about that because this is your first list. So we're going to say create a list. You're going to name this list here. So I'm going to call this my Black Friday list. If this is your first list, you might start off with a customer list, something along those lines. The next thing it's going to ask me is, when I send email, where does the email come from? What's the email address? Well, I'm going to put in Travis at Grow Blooms. So when they get this email, it's going to say that it came from me, right? So that's a good place to start. The from name, I'm going to put my name in here. You could change this to a company name. Maybe I'll do a little of both. I'll say Travis Chalemi, Blooming Sales Tupperware. Just in case I have some people that don't know my name or remember my name, they'll know, oh yeah, it's a Tupperware guy from Blooming Sales Tupperware. Okay, so I've said I have a list name, I have who it's coming from, I've given it the email address it's coming from, and then I've given it a human understandable name here. You're likely going to have to enter in your contact information. Mine is already pre-populated in here. That's one of the rules. So remember when I said that Mailchimp and the internet service providers have that agreement that says, we promise we're going to make sure that this isn't spam. As part of that promise, you have to put your physical address in there. So if you're the type of person that says, I don't want to use my physical address, I don't want my customers to know my physical address, then email marketing is probably not going to be a good option for you. So what do you do in that case? Well, you don't have to use your home address. You could get a P.O. box and put the P.O. box in there. Oftentimes, if you go to some place like a mailboxes, etc., or those sort of stores, you can use their physical address for there. But a physical address needs to be put into there. The rest of the settings here usually leave by default. Set to nothing. You can feel free to explore these. The notifications, if you want to know when people are added to the list or when they drop off the list, you can get those notifications. That's not something I pay attention to on a daily basis. So really, for creating a list, we're talking about the name, the email address, and the human understandable name for that address here. And I'm going to go ahead and say save. So we're going to save this list. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, yes. Check your entry, try again. It's telling me I need to write a short reminder of how they joined this list. And this is an important thing. So I'm going to put something on here that says, you are on this list because you have ordered Tupperware with me in the past. Something along those lines. So it's essentially saying, you signed up for, you're on this list because you're a customer. You're on this list because, and then I'm going to fix my typo here, because maybe you were at a vendor event and you gave me your contact info. Whatever it might be, you need to have a statement in here letting them know how it is that you got their email address. So I'm going to hit save on here. And it says, and it's taking me to my list. So this is my Black Friday list. I can see here I have no contacts. Oh no. So there's a couple things you can do here when you have no contacts. What we're going to talk about today, though, is importing contacts. So I'm going to click on Import Contacts. So there's many of you that took the Google Contacts Bootcamp or are familiar with Google Contacts, or maybe if you're using TWU Trends, maybe you have an Excel spreadsheet. All of those things you can use to import those contacts into your list here. Okay, one of my favorite things you can do is to copy and paste from a file. So I can click on here, and I'm going to say next, and then rather than importing the file, I can copy and paste from something like Excel or Outlook or whatever. I can copy and paste my info into here and import people that way. So I'm going to go back here. So again, you can bring them in using a CSV file, or you can copy and paste them from a file. Or another thing you can do, if some of that stuff becomes intimidating, is you can come back to here and you can add manually. So I'm back here at my list. I can just say add contacts, and I can do this manually. I can just say I want to add a subscriber. And it's basically asking me here, fill in their email address, their first name, last name, all the information that you have, and subscribe them to this list. So I'm going to put in a phony baloney one here. I'll put in my old email address here, and I'm going to add this person to my list. Please verify you have permission. Let's see. Here. This person gave me permission to email them, so I need to check this box. Apparently, I haven't given myself permission. Now, my Black Friday list has 1 subscriber on it. You can see the number 1 here, and if I click on that, it's going to take me to a list of here's all of my subscribers that are in this list. Okay? So I now have a list. Now, I'm going to go back to my list of lists here and see that there's my new Black Friday list. I have 1 subscriber. I have the other lists all still listed here. Let me show you what a list looks like that's got lots of people in it. So I'm going to click on our Blooming Sales list, and there's a couple things I want to show you about lists. So in this particular list, the way we have our list set up is here's the email addresses, their first name, last name. I have the director team listed in here because that's information that Tupperware gives to us, right? And so sometimes it's nice to know that information. I have phone numbers, and I have their status, whether or not they've been subscribed. But here's one of the things I wanted to highlight for you is that you have what's called a contact rating. And what this is this tells you as the list owner, do these people pay attention to what you're doing or not? So a 5-star person is somebody that's likely opening almost all of your emails. They're likely clicking on links that are in your emails, those sort of things. The ones that are 2 stars or 1 star, they're probably not as engaged. So they're not opening all the emails. They're not really clicking on things. Why would we want to know this? Well, this is, I think, valuable information to have when you are in a situation where you say, hey, I need to reach out to some people. I'm sorry, what?
To make managers.
Right, and so this would be a situation where you say, I need to reach out to some of my customers. Let's say start there. I need to reach out to some customers because I have a sales goal I'm trying to hit. And rather than going on Facebook and pleading there or sending an email to everybody, maybe I want to call some of these people up. And I know Martha here, she's a 5-star contact, so she's very engaged in what I've been doing. So if I call her, I'm not going to get that response, which is I don't have any idea what you're talking about, right? Versus some folks on here that maybe have a lower star rating, they may not be engaged with what you're doing, and you're less likely to have that be a productive call. Now, if you were using this as a tool to communicate with your team, one of the things that we often do is we look at this and say, hey, who in our company is paying attention to what we're doing? So not customers, but actually the people that are part of our company. And when maybe we have an event that we're doing, and I say, okay, I'm looking to do an event in this particular town, who are the people that are engaged? Who are the people that are listening to what we're saying on email? Who's clicking on things? Who's reading our emails? Those are the people that are most generally, those are the ones most engaged with Tupperware. They're the ones that are working their business, and they're the ones that you're going to want to be doing vendor events with you because they're on top of it. So you can use it for that sort of thing as well. Okay, so that's about it for lists. So the big picture is a list of people you're going to send emails to. Your list can be very simple. It can be just their email address, or your lists can be very complicated with phone numbers, email address, team information, all of that. It's just really what suits your needs and what you're trying to accomplish. One of the things I wanted to mention in this, is at any time, Mailchimp, if you get stuck on anything, Mailchimp has amazing help. So if you click up here in the top right corner on the help, they have great help. So if I just type in the word list here and do a search in their knowledge base, they have how to delete a list, how to replicate a list, how to view a list, importing list, copying, tons of stuff. They have amazing help support. It's one of the things I really love about Mailchimp. Now, my last parting comment on lists is Mailchimp is free. This is a free service up to a certain point. If your subscribers, your total number of subscribers goes over 2,000 people, then you'll have to start to pay a monthly fee. Monthly fee starts at $10 and it goes up from there. But honestly, I mean, you're probably not going to approach that anytime soon. And if you do, what a wonderful problem to have. I mean, if you have that many people and this tool is working for you, then paying a monthly $10 or $20 fee is going to be the least of your concerns. You're going to be happy to do that. So that's it with lists. So the next thing I want to do is talk about, let's make our first campaign. So I've got my list here. I'm going to come up and click on campaigns. Now, I can see when I click on campaigns, again, campaigns are emails. Campaigns can be different things, but in the context of what we're doing today is think of it as an email. So you can see here, there are a number of things that I want to point out here when I look at the campaigns. So these are the recently sent campaigns from our company. And you can see here, I sent out a reminder here on Seeds of Success for December. And then you can see the one above it says resent. And what I've done there is I've told Mailchimp, hey, I want to send this reminder on Monday. And then the next day, anybody that didn't open that email, I want to send them another email. And we find this tool works a lot because you can see the first time we sent this out, we only had 180 people open it. And 7 people clicked. The second time we sent it, 63 people opened it. Now, none of them clicked on anything, but the point being that with as many emails as we get in, people don't always process their email in any sort of logical way. And so what this allows you to do is you send out an email, and if they don't look at it for a couple days, you're sending another one, and you're going to have a higher chance that they're going to see the message that you sent to them. So that's just an explanation of what resent means here. But what we want to do is we want to create a campaign. So I've got campaigns open here. You can see there's a big button here that says create campaign. Now you can see on the resulting screen there's different types of campaigns that you can create. We're going to focus on the email campaign. So I'm going to click on email. And it says, okay, what is this called? We're going to call this is my Black Friday invitation. We'll call it something along those lines, okay? And I'm going to hit begin.
Connie wants to know if it says resend.
If what says resend? No, it does not say resend in the email. It says resend. The fact that it says resend is only a clue to me in the Mailchimp interface that's the one that was resent. To the end user who's receiving the email, it's like they're seeing it for the very first time. Because, in fact, they are seeing it for the first time. So I've got my Black Friday invitation email started. Who am I sending this to? Well, I'm going to say I'm sending it to a list. and I'm going to send it to my Black Friday list. Now, your Black Friday list or your whatever list would likely have more people. You can see here's all the other lists I have here. I'm going to choose this list. And then it's going to say, okay, I can just save it and be done and just say, okay, I'm sending to that list, right? Here's some other things that you can do with this. One is we can personalize the to field. And when I click on that, what it's going to do is in the email, when they open it, if you have their first name and last name in your list, it will personalize that. So when the email comes in, it'll be addressed to Travis Chillemi or Angie Chillemi or whomever. That's not something that you have to do. So leaving this checkbox unchecked is completely fine. We're not going to talk about segments. That's sort of an advanced thing, so we're not going to talk about that today. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. All right, so it's saying, okay, I'm sending this email to all the subscribers on the Black Friday list. It's going to come from me. All that information is in there. That's good. What's the subject of the email? I'm going to add a subject to this email, and we're going to say, I'd like to share my Tupperware Black Friday deals with you. And so that's a pretty good subject. So I'm going to hit save on this. Oh, I forgot one thing. Let me go back to that. Let's go back to that subject. You want to put this in the exact, duplicate this over here in the preview text. What preview text is a lot of us on our smartphones will get notifications, and that notification that pops up and you can kind of see some of the email in there, that comes from the preview text. So your subject line and your preview text, they can be different. I usually mark them as the same. This does show up in the inbox after the subject line, so you may want to tweak this a little bit. You are a great customer, and I don't want you to miss out on Tupperware deals. So this is a pretty good setup for the subject line. So the subject is, I'd like to share my Tupperware Black Friday deals with you. The preview text is, you are a great customer. I don't want you to miss Tupperware deals. Perfect. So I'm going to hit save. Then we get to our content, and our content is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we're going to get down and nerdy. So I'm going to say, let's design this email. Now, we have templates that we have set up for our blooming sales company. And we use those templates. So if you come over here to the saved templates section, you'll see we have templates that we use for blooming sales. There's templates I've used for other FSRC members, all kinds of different templates that are in here. Okay, you're not going to have templates. So what you're going to do is you're going to, when you design your email, I would start off with either a layout, which basically is, think of it like a blueprint for your email, and then you're going to go in and pick all the colors. That's time consuming, but feel free to do that. So that's one option, and you can see in the layouts there's lots of different options here for all sorts of different things, including if you just want a plain text email, you can do that as well. So lots of different layout options. I'm really fond of the themes. So if you come into the themes, this is very similar to when we talked about Canva, which is they've come up with some designs that work for a lot of different scenarios, and you could use one of those designs to send this email. So we're doing a Black Friday thing. So I'm wondering if they have, maybe I'm going to look in their themes and do a search for shopping. Nothing there. How about a sale? That's a bicycle shop. Let's, instead of doing that, let's go by category. How about, here we got some sales looking stuff here. This boutique one, that's kind of fun. I don't like the picture, but I like the rest of this here. So let me see, I'm going to select, let's go with this one here. So I'm going to use this particular layout, and you'll see when I select that, it takes me into this editing interface. Now on this editing interface here, This is where I'm actually designing the email. Okay, so they have this worn logo up here at the top. I don't want that. I want to replace that with my own. So I might go ahead and just delete that. Okay, and you can see the rest of the email template that is in here. So I can come into any of these blocks that are here. As you click on each particular block, you are given the editor for that block on the right side. So you can see here, this content block, when I click on it, I get the words right here. So I can type in over here, Tupperware Black Friday sale. Let me get rid of this other stuff here. So that's great. I don't like this image, right? That's not a very good image. So I'm going to replace that with something else. Now I've uploaded images into here for a variety of different things. If you haven't uploaded an image yet, you can just click on upload and it's going to ask you which image would you like to use. I'm just going to upload one of the images I already have used before. Let's just select this one for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to say I want to use this image. There we go. So I have Tupperware Black Friday sale. I've got an image on there. And then in this block, I might want to start writing in some of the details of my message. Make sure you tune in to my Facebook group on Friday. You're going to write the message in here. I'm going to cheat a little bit here, and let's say that this is the message that we're putting in there. So as we scroll through here, this is a button down here where it says shop warn. So I can click on that and I can say, I don't want them to do that. I want to take them, go to my VIP group, right? So this might be a link to the VIP group that you have on Facebook. You would put the web address into here of what your group is, right? And then you have, and that's it. You have a button now that goes to your Facebook group for them to click on. You've put a photo into here of the product. You've taken this template and made it your own, adding your own content. Now, they have extra things down in here. Anytime you see something you don't like, you can edit it and replace it or just delete it. So if I delete this, you'll see it's just going to delete this. I can delete this. We'll take those out. I can delete this. We can take that out. So all of these things that are in here that I don't want to have, I can remove them. So I've got a pretty simple email put together here. I'm going to save this out. And we're going to go ahead, and one of the things I want to show you here is this preview and test. So up here on the top, we have a top menu, preview and test. I'm going to click on preview and test and enter preview mode. And what this does is this is going to show me what is my email going to look like when they open it up. Well, the email is going to go to their email address. It's going to be from this. This is the subject. Here's the preview text. Here's what the email is going to look like. Here's what it's going to look like on a mobile phone. That's nice and simple, easy to read and understand. Here's what it's going to look like if they're on their I don't know what inbox is. Oh, oh no, I don't have that. So disregard inbox. That's if you pay Mailchimp, you can use inbox. But I want to make sure that it looks good on the mobile device and that it also looks good on a desktop. The biggest thing I've noticed here with folks is sometimes these images are too big for the mobile device, but ours is scaling down quite nicely. Everything looks okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that preview. So we've put some content into here. We told it we want to send to our list, and I'm going to hit save and close on this particular email. And one of the things you'll notice here is I'm back to my email setup. You can see in here, there's my email design in the preview. And when we scroll down here, you can see we can connect this to a couple of different social media things. This is the sort of thing you're going to want to pay attention to, because you don't want to send things out on Mailchimp and accidentally have that stuff get posted to social media. And so you really want to pay attention. Is this content okay to post to social media or not? So that's something you want to keep in mind. But if everything looks okay here, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can schedule this. So you can see up here on the top, there's a schedule button. So I can schedule this email and say, hey, I want to send this email out at this particular time on this particular date. What's great about this is you can create emails that get sent. You can work on the email in the middle of the night, and then send the email the following morning, because oftentimes I see a lot of people that are communicating a lot of things at 1 a.m, and they're missing that opportunity for that to hit their phone or hit their inbox the following morning. So you can schedule these campaigns out this way, or you can send this immediately, and this would get sent out immediately. Excuse me. So that is the basics of creating a list, using that list to populate emails into a campaign. In this case, we created an email for Black Friday. Once you've created that list and you're sending out your email campaigns, then you will have the opportunity to go look at reports. And what reports are telling us a lot of valuable information. This is an overall campaign report. This is telling us on any given day, are people opening emails? When are they opening emails? And you can see here's all the individual emails that we have sent over the last couple of weeks. So we can view a report. So I can notice here, this Blooming Sales Weekly Update. Let's take a look at this report. It was sent to 999 people. 107 of them opened it. 19 of them clicked on it. One of them was a bounced email, so that was a bad email address, and one person unsubscribed. And what would I do with this information? Well, a couple of things I would do is I would click on this, 107 people who opened it. This is a good thing to look in every once in a while and see if anybody's missing. So if you have a team and you send this out to 20 people in your team and you notice, so-and-so didn't open that email, you might want to reach out to them and say, hey, it looks like you missed an email that was really important. Make sure you check your inbox. Also, what they're clicking on. So looking, 19 people clicked. What are the sort of things they're interested in? Now look, they're interested in this Party Perks update cookware offers. Well, of course they are. It's free cookware, right? So these are the sorts of things they're interested in. These are some recognition things, goodie grabbers, Facebook. So here's what they're interested in. These are the things that they're clicking on in the email. So that's valuable information as a business owner. You can even drill this down to an individual person. So if I look at 19 people clicked on this particular link, if I click on the unique list column here, it'll tell me who clicked on that. Well, what would I do with that? Well, I know these 10 people clicked on the link to the cookware. So I might want to follow up with these 10 folks and say, hey, how's your pursuit of the free cookware going? Do you have your sales ready to go? Or are you going to be online at midnight, submitting right away so that you have a chance to win some cookware? Maybe you put all of these people into a Facebook group and you message all of them right at midnight and say, did you submit? Did you submit? Any number of those sort of things. If you have customers and let's say you had a link to the opportunity to review the kit and you see a customer that clicked on that link, you might want to give them a call and just say, hey, I've been thinking about you. I just really think the opportunity is a great thing. It's right up your alley. I know you like to cook. I know that, your husband and you like to entertain guests, whatever. Have you ever thought about signing up? Now, what you don't want to say is, hey, I saw you opened my email and you clicked on the link, because her response is going to likely be, you're really creepy. But if what you're telling her is, hey, I was just really thinking about you, she's going to say, you know what, that's really weird. I was just reading about the opportunity yesterday. That's really interesting that you call. And the fact that you were stalking her can just be your, our little secret, right? So this is what marketers do. This is how they're convincing you, and whether you'll want to believe it or not, everything that you've purchased in your house, a marketer helped you make that decision. Just like you're a consultant that's helping guide people to make decisions for what Tupperware is good for them, marketers are guiding you to what they think is good for you to spend your dollars on. So you can leverage the tools that the big girl and big boy marketers are using within your business. It's just in a smaller way. So you're sending emails out to your customer list or your team, and you're gathering a little bit of information for you to use personally to make you a better communicator. So that's the gist of Mailchimp. One question I get oftentimes is this a replacement for TWU Trends? I don't believe it's a replacement for Trends, and here's why. TWU Trends I consider to be the fail-safe. So let's pretend that you're a consultant, you're trucking right along, and somebody in your family gets in a car accident, and all of a sudden you're back and forth to the hotel, or to the hospital. Maybe you're staying at a hotel because they're in the hospital, whatever, and all of a sudden your communication that you normally do with your team or with your customers starts to fall behind. TWU Trends is a great thing for your customers that they're going to get that TWU Trends email, and you don't and that's a set it and forget it. You don't have to really be involved with that. This is just that ability for you to be more personal with your team, with your customers about what's going on in your Tupperware business, but not have to send individual emails all the time, and do it sort of in a way that is more efficient. So are there any other questions regarding Mailchimp that you saw come through? No? Okay, so the challenge, this will be the last thing. So the challenge for Mailchimp is for you to take a screenshot of your list that you've built within your Mailchimp account. And there needs to be at least 10 people in that list, and a screenshot of an email that you sent to those 10 people. So if you do those two things, not only will it jumpstart your business, but you'll also be interested or entered into the drawing for the $10 gift card and some Tupper goodies from us. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you have other questions, feel free to email me or catch me on Facebook. But if there are any other questions, we'll bid you adieu. Happy Thanksgiving, and go Tupperware.